Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And continuing on with our discussion of the films in the Criterion collection, specifically those titles that were released during this year, 2020, won't you join me in a discussion of the Blu-ray that was released of this particular title, which currently exists in the Criterion collection at spine number 45. This is the film from 1997. This is from filmmaker Abbas Kiarostami. The name of the film is Taste of Cherry. Abbas Kiarostami's film Taste of Cherry is a film of many aspects and about many things, and seems to encompass a whole lot of themes and approaches and philosophies that I think make up the wonderful and beautifully rich and complex tapestry that is the art of the cinema of Abbas Kiarostami. For one thing, it has a real sense of texture and place, being the film that is about a journey through countryscapes and cityscapes and landscapes and cars and roads and people that occupy and populate this landscape of a particular society and people. And so in that way, it could be described as perhaps trying to capture a sense of truthful realness about what is being depicted, not just in terms of the scenic, poetic, cinematic landscapes, but also within the themes that are embodied in the actual stories of the characters that we are meeting in this narrative, in particular the main character of Mr. Body. And so we have this seemingly wonderful and beautiful capturing on cinema of an attempt at portraying a sense of reality to the proceedings, which I find very fascinating on the one hand. And yet on the other hand, we have a film that is very much interested in a type of self-reflexivity that turns the attention back on the art form itself and really calls attention to the very act of filmmaking that creates a truly special kind of dynamic between reality and fiction, between what is truth and what is documentary on the one hand, and also what is purely fiction and what is storytelling on the other. And the lines between those two worlds tends to blend in a way that is cinematic poetry in the hands of Kiarostami. And along this way, we have discussions of philosophy, about individualism, about a sort of existential dilemmas, if you will, about existence, about life, about religion, about the value of perceptions, about one's worth as a human being, the idea of life, the idea of death, and the idea of discussion and human interaction, and also solitary isolation that comes in the form of death. And so all of this stuff, this really deep and profound working with these themes, are enveloped in these cinematic, stylistic portraits, if you will, that, as I say, or try to suggest, on the one hand, try to portray a sense of sort of cinematic reality on the one hand, but then on the other hand, create a really exciting and in a good way, a very perplexing and incredibly challenging dynamic with the notion of truth and fiction, documentary and narrative, storytelling versus the reality, and what is what. This becomes a real document, if you will, of the concerns of Abbas Kiarostami, a filmmaker who is making works that are dealing with many different things at once in a balanced, beautiful, challenging, provocative way, and still a film that has a sense of truth anchored with heart and soul, but is also the work, of course, of a master filmmaker, a technician, a poet, an artist, and a real almost pioneer, if you will, in terms of a kind of cinematic art as expressed in his many films, but in particular, my friends, as expressed in this astounding work of art, truly astounding. This is the film Taste of Cherry. Okay, so this is the Criterion Collection release, the new Blu-ray, which is purported to be based off of a new 4K digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack, and it looks marvelous. It really does. And I should say that this is spine number 45, which means, of course, that this was, or this is, a DVD, which is right here. So this is an older, earlier DVD release. And so we have we have some of the special features that were included on the DVD that are carried over, and I'll talk about that momentarily. But this Blu-ray is astounding. It really is. It was rumored, of course, and people, I think, were waiting for kind of upgrade, if you will, of the older DVD, and thank goodness Criterion answered the call. A wonderful release, absolutely splendid. And speaking of this, let me also mention that this Blu-ray includes among its supplements the following. First, something entitled Project, which is what's described as being a sketch film, which is a sort of on-camera, video camera working out of ideas that would later become concepts to be captured in the film. And so we see Kiarostami and his son, and we see the artist working out specific scenes and concepts that would later form the bases of very key moments of the film. And we also see a hint at how Kiarostami focuses in on the particular production aspect, the filming aspect of certain scenes in the car, for example, and the like. And so this is a very enlightening sketch film, and a kind of blueprint, if you will, or working draft of certain concepts and ideas that would later be encapsulated and finalized in the final work, Taste of Cherry. Very fascinating stuff. I should point out just a very minor thing. The supplement submenu indicates it being 44 minutes. However, my Blu-ray player indicates it at being 38 minutes. So I'm not sure where the discrepancy comes in, but it's approximately 40 minutes, let's put it that way. And it is really fascinating to see the artist at work, actually working with the dialogue that would later be adopted by the main character, Mr. Badi, and others. So it's brilliant stuff, highly recommended. And then we have a new one-on-one interview with Iranian cinema expert and expert on the cinema of Abbas Kiarostami. This is Hamid Nafisi, and this is 16 minutes. And Hamid Nafisi talks about many aspects of Kiarostami's career, his professional beginnings and how he developed into the artist that was the artist that made Taste of Cherry. And he also tells us certain social concerns and significant aspects of the style and the look, talking about the society of Iran at the time, the idea of the importance of infrastructure, and also the idea of the journeyman and the importance of the journey and what it is that journey is and how that journey is expressed both in physical terms with the streets or the roads and the car and the driving, but also expressed in inner human terms, as in a journey of a man trying to reach a certain destination and how his interactions with certain characters along the way either go along with that destination or maybe go in opposite directions with that destination. And I'm talking about the sort of philosophical or emotional journey that the main character goes through. So this is, I think, very essential viewing in terms of a nice, concise, yet incredibly informative scholarship on and primer on the works of Kiarostami and Taste of Cherry. So this is the interview with Hamid Nafisi. And then we have an 18-minute interview with Abbas Kiarostami himself, which is conducted by Jamshid Akrami. This is from 1997, and indeed this is the interview that we actually saw in the earlier DVD. But it's good, of course, to have an interview with the artist, the filmmaker himself, Abbas Kiarostami, and it's very insightful. He talks a little bit about his background. He talks a little bit about the concept of censorship, or perhaps to put it more specifically, the perceptions on censorship and certain preconceived notions that people outside of Iran might have about the cinema of Iran. He also talks a little bit about filmmakers abroad, etc. So this is essential, very essential. So I highly recommend it if you can. And then there is a 7-minute, another interview, if you will, a discussion. This is with Kristen Thompson, and this is from 2017. This is an episode according to the Criterion set. This is Abbas Kiarostami's Landscapes, which is an episode of the Criterion channel's Observations on Film Art. And so we have Kristen Thompson talking again about certain visual motifs and imagery that is very important, not just in line with Kiarostami's visual look as a filmmaker, but also the social themes and the real significance, if you will, of a kind of capturing of a time and place and a society, and how that is also linked inextricably, of course, with the story of the individual and other very key aspects of Kiarostami's work as embodied in the film Taste of Cherry. So that's very good to have. Again, this is about 7 minutes. And then we have a trailer that accompanies the supplements. Just to be clear, going back to the DVD, what we have on the DVD that we don't have here is a written out filmography of Abbas Kiarostami's work that we often saw on very early initial DVD releases. And so we don't have that same kind of filmography button, if you will, on this. But I think you can find many sources, maybe outside of the Blu-ray, maybe online, etc., dealing with Kiarostami's filmography, just in case you're interested. So just for your information about that. And then we have the insert, which is right here, and I've taken it out. And this is a continuation of the cover art motif. Plus, we have pictures, of course, and this is one of the fold-outs style. And then on the other side here, we have the essay, which is called "Stay Near the Tree." A.S. Hamrah. I am a huge fan of the essays, as you know, and this one is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So please take a look at this essay, Stay Near the Tree, A.S. Hamrah's essay, if you can. Totally worth it, my friends. And just a brilliant discussion and working through of this film and many of the other films of Kiarostami's career. So well done, well done. A strong, very strong essay as always. It's on one of the foldouts, and I've mentioned it before. I think you know my feelings on the foldouts. I wish that Criterion could use more of the robust booklets and put more essays in as possible. But then again, having a leaflet that is a foldout is better than not having any insert at all. Just for your information about the earlier DVD, this is the insert, and so the insert here had a shorter write-up, Godfrey Cheshire, right here. It's a very good, it's a very nice, concise essay, but it's not the essay that we have on the new Blu-ray release, so just for your information about that. And so, my friends, this is the film Taste of Cherry, as released by the Criterion Collection. I strongly recommend this. If you have not seen this film, please do so. This is a very moving, challenging, complex work that is more than meets the eye. I promise you that. And when I say that, it is marvelous, and the surprises and the twists that unfurl themselves as you watch really create a sense of the remarkable and the wondrous. And those are, I think, really nice adjectives to describe the cinematic craft at work in this film, and also perhaps more broadly, the cinematic craft at work in the whole cinematic or film body of the work of Abbas Kiarostami. What a remarkable artist Kiarostami was, and this is a prime example of that masterful artistry. This is the brilliant film, Taste of Cherry. Okay, my friends, so that's it for now, and so until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies. Thank you once again for your time, my dear friends, and cheers.